at Southern Utah. I finished up, and then I coached at Dixie College, which is actually a 4-year now. But
Yeah.
we used to be a big bounce back JUCO, kind of a powerhouse.
I remember.
From Vegas and from Hawaii, and a lot of bounce backs from D1. So I ended up going there in 2002, and that's where I started coaching, the assistant O-line coach, and then been doing it off and on since 2002. And now I coach at Pomona High over here in the IE. Well, we're kind of LA, the border of LA, right on the outskirts, right before you hit the IE. I've been doing the training and the coaching for a number of years now. So as far as Strong Pack, that's a program that I've had dormant for a while. And I've had the opportunity to get back into it and get it going. But I've been doing one-on-one personal training for a long time. I actually even a lot of people don't know I was a general manager at a LA Fitness and a training director at LA Fitness. So I've even done training to the other side of it. So when you're talking about to the public, I've even ventured in that. So I found out that wasn't my cup of tea. Getting people healthy through corporate America wasn't my cup of tea. And I found this a little bit more rewarding, is dealing with that helped me out growing up, and something that we all enjoy. So
It's funny you said that, Coach. I kind of took the same journey. I took the personal trainer route and was training the average everyday person. Most of my clients end up being middle-aged women, and I quickly learned it wasn't my thing. I needed to steer more to athletes. So I agree.
Yeah. Before we get into asking Solo some questions too, I wanted to know about, like I said, I follow you on social media. Can you tell me a little bit more about your little guy? I see you often refer to him as King Kong. Is he poised to be a middle linebacker as well, like his big brother?
Well, actually, there's two of them. There's King Kong and Godzilla.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice tandem.
And more than likely, Godzilla is going to run he'll probably run the football gauntlet. King Kong he's going to be my big boy. I mean, that dude's already he's 8 years old. I think he's like I got to make him sit on the other side of the table, man. He's like already at 140.
What? Damn.
8 years old. So King Kong. But as far as athleticism, I see the little guy, Godzilla. Well, I shouldn't say little guy. It's just
just a little bit smaller.
Yeah, but he reminds me a lot more of Solomon growing up, my younger one. But I'm not sure, man. That's a good question, Ty. I mean, after going through, I was blessed to be able to go through the whole. Through the whole entire process at a high level with Solomon, that I'm not sure if football's changed. Youth football's changed since he was, and so I'm not sure. I mean, if it comes, it comes. But it's like, hey, I even told Solomon, man, when he was growing up, pick something else. He said he was going to be better than me, and I was like, well, that's not hard to do.
Well, that's good. You always want to see your kids kind of outdo your play. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So
this is for you, Solo. Is there anything about the new defensive staff that stands out to you, and have you had a chance to actually dig into the playbook yet?
Oh yeah. Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank you guys for having me and my dad on. Fight on.
Fight on.
But yeah, the new defense staff, like, they got a lot of juice, man. The main thing that I would say is during our weight room workouts, during winter conditioning, spring when they mostly came in, weight room workouts, on-field conditioning, I was able to see them, and they were walking around the weight room with us the whole time, the whole 2 hours. And they were hyping us up, playing music. They're over there playing air guitar, getting us hyped up, getting some juice on us. So I thought that was pretty cool to see. And yeah, I've been able to dig into the playbook, and I think it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of cool concepts that will really allow our team to kind of flourish.
Nice. And then what are your personal goals coming into this season?
My personal goals, the top two I want to highlight is getting the starting spot and shoot 100+ tackles this season. Those are my top two goals.
Nice.
With just out of curiosity, I didn't send this question, but I just kind of thought of it. Was 58 something that you chose? Was that something coming into USC that you said, hey, I want to wear number 58, or did they assign that to you? Can you tell me about that?
Oh yeah, I can tell you about that. So coming in, they actually asked me, they're like, what number do you want, or are you cool with just any number? And at the time, I've never really worried about what number I was going to be, like ever since I started playing football. When I first started, I picked number 42 because my older cousin was number 43. And then I ended up finding out, that was Ronnie Lott's number. My dad's telling me, what you mean?
Yeah.
You're not just it's Ronnie Lott's number. And then I kept that all the way until like high school. And then I started rocking number 2. And I rocked number 10 for a little bit. And then I rocked number 51. So yeah, I've been rocking a bunch of numbers since I was a little kid, and yeah, they pretty much just told me, "Oh, that's your number," and then I was like, "Man, that's a crazy coincidence because that's Raymond Scott number, Tuliaupupu's number, a bunch of ballers." So yeah, I was pretty happy to get that number at the end of the day.
Yeah, and every time you change your number, you cut a little bit of your hair off too, right?
Yeah. No.
That's all I got. What you got, Irvin?
Oh, my first question for Coach Turnbull. Well, you kind of explained already how long you've been coaching and what got you into coaching. So my second question was, what age did you know that Solomon was going to be a monster, but you probably didn't tell him?
That's a good question. I would say, I would say probably at 3 years old, because I actually his first sport was wrestling. His first sport was, I wanted to wrestle. I wanted him to wrestle, and by the time he was 6, he was wrestling 12-year-olds.
Damn.
Damn.
Well, he had one of those coaches. Well, his coach was the president of wrestling in Utah. So that dude was crazy, man. That was back when UFC just first popped off. Like he was friends with Randy Couture and Matt Hughes. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a funny story because I would say, hey, man, are you sure should he be wrestling his age or should he be wrestling his weight? And he was like, he said, all mat time is good time, like that. And I was like, just like a crazy wrestler would say, right? And,
sure.
And so I kind of ruined it for him because he went into a tournament and he was wrestling like 11, 12-year-olds. And so it got to a point where the age difference made a difference, right? As far as development, and so he, at the end of the tournament, he was like, he looked at me and said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this anymore. So I took a step back, and football was kind of the last resort, kind of, we did soccer, and then I held him away from football, and then he played a year of flag football, and yeah, man, that dude just natural, offense, defense, and kept asking to play tackle football, and then that's the rest was history, man.
Had to turn him loose.
Yeah, I had to cut him loose after that. So it was one of those. I at 3 years old, I knew he was going to play something, and it was going to be obviously the defensive side if it was football because he was so aggressive, and so that's why wrestling worked. But yeah, I'd say probably 3 years old is when I knew that he was going to be different.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to Gary Bryant. He knew GB1 was going to be a problem at 4 or 5 years old. And my first question was for Solo. Nice, thank you for coming on and been a big fan of yours since your sophomore year in high school. what inspires you most on and off the field?
Man, that's a good question. Thank you for asking it. I would say on and off the field, the main thing that kind of drives me or inspires me is just my dreams, man. I like to think about where I want to be in my future. And when stuff gets hard or stuff's going good, I always like to look at the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, what am I working for? And those main things are like having a nice big house where my family can stay, having a happy family, having my kids go to church, kids in a nice school, and shoot, those are what I always look for all the time on the field and off the field. I just always remember, all right, what's the end goal? What's the end goal? Why am I trying to try so hard in school? Why am I trying so hard in football? But I would say other than my future goals, the main like inspiration I have for football is just, man, football's fun, man.
Yeah.
That's the plain way to put it. Like, football is freaking fun. Like, you get to watch yourself, you get to hit dudes, you get to like improve, you get to see how much you get better. You can see yourself get faster, stronger. Like, you could get did up on a play, and then the next time around,
you can be like somebody else. Yeah.
You mess the play up, and then after that, it's like, oh yeah, I got that one, and it's just it's fun. So that's what I would say too.
That's good to hear. My second question, Ty actually took one of my questions, so I had to change this one up a little bit. So going to modern day, being that big time linebacker on campus, what's like the 2 games you remember the most from high school?
Man, from high school, I would probably say the St. John Bosco game for sure. That one was fun. That was a real fun one. And the Long Beach Poly game. Those 2 games were like the most fun. Practice that whole week was turned. The history behind both those kind of games was, I know Bosco doesn't go as far back, but it's like the same intensity. Yeah. And practice was just fun. Weight room was fun. We were all getting hyped up every day. Like, oh yeah, we got Poly this week, or oh yeah, we got Bosco. How we gonna work? So it was those 2 weeks were fun.
Okay, that's cool. So, well, Bishop Gorman must not have been much of a challenge there, huh?
No, Bishop Gorman was there. Yeah, Bishop Gorman was definitely a fun one. It's just a different type of energy though, because you don't have that history with Bishop Gorman.
Yeah,
that was the first time modern day played them.
I mentioned that one because, that game you was matched up against, you wasn't matched up again, but you and Solo pretty much played the same position. And that game, I think you had, 12 or 13 solo tackles. I was like, oh, yeah, he's pretty much up there with Solo. He should be a 5-star too.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that was, Bishop Gorman, that was a good game. All the coaches were there, big crowd. Offense on offense, defense on defense. It was cool. It was a good one.
I'm not gonna age myself, Solo, but I grew up in Vegas, and when we played Gorman, we used to run all over them. It's crazy how in the last 10 years they're trying to be like modern day, and they're doing a good job. But we used to walk all over them in Vegas.
Oh man, what high school did you go to, big dog?
I went to Silverado. My dad still coaches. He's the offensive coordinator out there.
Oh, there you go.
He plays against. So he loses every year to all the Polys at Liberty. Liberty's stacked every year. He's trying to get over the hump. He's trying to get over the hump this year, but we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah.
What are you guys, the Flying Hogs? What is
Skyhawks?
Yeah, Skyhawks.
Skyhawks.
Oh.
Way off, huh?
We played like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Solo. I'll take it. I'll take it from here. What's your current height, weight, man?
Man, flat out. Shoot, I'm probably a little bigger than I'm supposed to be right now, but
quarantine treated you right.
Yeah, I've been hitting the weights hard, spreading hard. So I'm like 6'3" flat. I promise you, that's not exaggerating. That's 6'3" flat. They measured me in the weight room, barefoot, heels, 6'3" flat, and then 250 right now.
Okay,
nice.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've gotten a chance to speak one-on-one with Coach Orlando. and speaking with the new defense. Is there anything you can disclose about what he may have told you, what he envisions your role in his defense?
Man, yeah, I've talked to Coach Orlando a few times, and man, the main thing he wants us to focus on is like running and hitting. Those are the main things, running and hitting. We want to run and hit every play, full sprint to every single ball. Like in terms of getting into assignment and that kind of stuff, I'm not supposed to really disclose that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You know.
I'm when they put the roster up, I'm at inside linebacker.
Okay.
So they got me in there. And
Oh,
run
yeah.
and hit. Those are the two main
looking
things he expects from everyone on the
forward to
defense.
that.
You kind of touched on, you know, your motivation overall, but something I just wanted to have you touch on a little bit more is, you know, a lot of kids out there that have injuries and minor setbacks like yourself. Just for you to just again kind of touch on, hey, just keeping your head down and keeping on grinding even in that adversity.
Oh yeah, of course. All injuries, any type of adversity is tough, and sometimes if your mind's not in the right place, it could get to you, man. And the monster could seem a lot bigger than it really is. So my advice for anyone going through anything right now is to keep it pushing. You know, you got to keep your feet moving. You got to keep driving through it. You got to, you know, remain humble, remain who you are, remember who you come from, where you come from, and I would say turn to God. Turn to God and realize that at the end of the day, you're not in control. Like Heavenly Father's got you. So at the end of the day, just keep it pushing and do what you can. Do your best to be your best, I would say.
That's awesome. Great answers. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
My turn.
Yep.
Terry?
Hey, Solo. I mean, so you touched earlier. You and your dad touched earlier about why you went to modern day. Trinity League, in my opinion, is probably the toughest league in the entire country. I mean, the number of teams, Bosco, modern day. I mean, there's just no comparison. Leading up to committing to SC, was there any type of friendly smack talking to all the other players, like, you know, the guys from Bosco, as to, oh, where are you going to go? Who's going where? We'll see you in college type stuff. Anything like that?
Oh, man. Like, honestly, nah, there wasn't really anything like that for, like, during the games or anything. Like, it's all business, man. That was the main difference I noticed was, like, when you're in the game in the Trinity League, like, of course, if you lined up across somebody and you know them, you might give them, like, a little, like, what's up, punk? Yeah, let's go, next game. Like, you got a buddy on the other side. Yeah, but me being, like, the new kid on the block, like, I didn't really know anybody like that. So, shoot, it was all business for everyone playing against me, and for me, I was just focused on the plays, and no one really did any type of recruiting to me. Well, I would say probably at Gorman, he was getting at me, so
I don't blame him.
yeah.
But just looking at the roster at SC, so how many Trinity guys are on that roster? It's a lot, right? You know, guys from Boston, you know, Chris Steele, you know, Kobe Pepe's coming in, got the McLean brothers. I mean, it just goes on, you know, your teammates, Amon Ra, it just goes on and on, man. So,
Oh, yeah. Yes,
now getting back to, like, you growing up, you said you loving football. Who did you follow? You know, who were you always an SC fan? Did you follow other teams? You know, what players that you say, hey, I want to play like him, or I'm going to be him, or whatever. Give me an idea on that.
Yeah. Shoot. Yeah, I would say I was more of an SC fan growing up, mainly because my dad and my uncles. But when I was younger, I didn't really know anything about football. I just knew, oh, who we cheering for, Dad? Or who we want to win? That kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, my Uncle Junior, he's a big SC fan, and he used to put on the Reggie Bush highlights for me and my cousins all the time, just for us to watch. He's like, yeah, you got to be this fast. You got to play like this. And in terms of football, we mostly grew up watching the Chargers, right, Dad? That was my dad's team, so all I knew was, yeah, let's go Chargers. And
yeah,
LT was my guy, like LaDainian Tomlinson, the new LT.
Yep.
He's my guy. He was the playmaker back then when I was a kid, and I'd always try to be rocking his jersey. But as soon as I started getting older and developing a little bit more, I started, like, and my dad started showing me, like, killers on the field like Ray Lewis, Patrick Willis, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, like showing me the all-time greatest hits highlights. Those are guys I started to look to, like, man, yeah, I want to be like him. Ray Lewis,
Yeah.
he's a beast. Yeah, so I would say those guys.
Okay. Your uncle probably didn't put that Reggie Bush in. Hey, try to stop this guy, right?
Yeah, it was more like be like this guy. It wasn't stuff like that. Be like him. Yeah.
All right. For Coach, a couple questions for you. When you watch your son play, you know, there's a lot of pride obviously involved, but who do you see when you see him play? Is there any particular player that you see that maybe he kind of follows a little bit, or you just kind of like, you know, just happy to see him play?
I think the latter on that one. Yeah, I'm just happy to see him play, man. You know, I'm excited for him to come back and get an opportunity to play. There's just so many good players out there. You know what I'm saying? I've always been one of those that always has told him to find your own identity. You know, create your. You know, don't want to be too much like somebody, but you know, want them to be like you. I mean, that's why you know, kind of the meaning behind his name too, Solo. You know what I mean? Yeah, you stand on your own 2 feet. So
nice.
Yeah. So I'm just excited, not only to see him play. Even, you know, it was funny because it took a while. Like I told you, I didn't really care if he played football or not. But once he decided he was going to do it, we were going to go all in on that. So ever since he decided to play ball, I've been his biggest fan since. So
in terms of, I mean, you know, being a coach, you've coached hundreds of players, if not more. And at the end of that senior season, when you saw that he was injured, number one, did you know how serious his injury was just by seeing him there? And what goes through your mind when you see that your son that's injured, you know, as opposed to just another player? Is it
well, I mean, fortunately, you know, that's where we could relate. Was, you know, for me playing, was that we all know football, you're going to get hurt. It's just a matter of the magnitude of the injury. And so it was unfortunate that he got hurt and that he got injured. But at the same time, yeah, I was prepared for it because I had a bunch of injuries too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to be there to mentor for him because I didn't have somebody there to explain it to me, and be able to mentor me and get through that tough time. Yeah, I felt for him. I mean, I you know, I prayed for him and felt for him, and you know, the thing was to put everything else in perspective. There's more to life than just football, you know. So you know, and don't let anybody minimize your success. So all of the success, and I share that with all of the kids that I train and coach, is that even though your accolades are at this and that, you earned it. You know, you earned it. So enjoy it. Enjoy it, and don't let anybody minimize your success. And that's what I meant by that. And so that was a tough time. And it made it even tougher. The tricky part where I felt bad about was he kept getting awards. He kept getting awards. And the more awards he got, the more the kids started feeling, you know, worse about the whole situation. And I told him, listen, you know, it's the body of work. Don't listen to all that stuff. Protect your mind and enjoy it, you know. And so ultimately, just be ready, you know. You need to understand that you need your foot a lot longer than you need football. So yeah, I'm kind of incognito right now because I tweaked my knee, so I'm actually sitting here. And so, you know, it's one of those things. I serves as a reminder to them, you know, to take care of your body, because you know the two main things I always tell Solomon is stay true to the game and take care of your body. You do those two things, and you'll be all right, man.
Yeah, awesome. Are you cleared, Solo? Are you cleared 100% to go full on, or you got to take it a little slow in the beginning?
Yeah, so when I get back, they're gonna have me on type of return to play program. But right now, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great.
Okay,
right now.
that's good.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's good, yeah.
Yeah, we're all waiting.
Before we wrap it up.
We're all waiting to see you do it on the field, man. We've been waiting for 2 years, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
When he was coming out of high school, I was like, yeah, we got us another Ray Valuga. Let's get it.
Thank you guys. Thank you for your support.
Yeah. Hey, Solo, before we let you go, we don't want to take up too much of your time. Do you have a preference in playing inside or outside?
And at the end of the day, I just want to play football. I grew up playing on the inside since I was 9 years old. But shoot, if they put me on the outside, I'll be willing to play wherever. I'm gonna try my hardest. I'm gonna work my hardest to be the best I could be. So, shoot, at the end of the day, I'll play anywhere. I want to just play.
Yeah, looking forward to you and EA playing next to each other. That's gonna be a beautiful sight.
Thank you guys.
All right, Mark.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Oh, real quick, Solo, if you have a Twitter handle or IG, if you want to get out there, so you can get your followers up.
Yeah. So IG and Twitter, it's the same username at Nokeakua. That's my middle name. In Hawaiian, it means for God. NOKEAKUA, Nokeakua. So you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Add me on Facebook. I'll try to add you back. And, yeah, my dad, you can find him, Instagram, Twitter, Coach Turnbull. I don't know your ad, though, Dad, but I'm pretty sure if you look Coach Turnbull, you'll be the first one to pop up.
Yeah, me and him been friends on Facebook for a while.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Automatic.
All right. Again, appreciate you guys for taking the time out of your day. Fight on, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, fellas. Fight on.
Appreciate it, Coach. Fight
Thanks,
on.
Coach.
All right, fellas. That was pretty exciting to have Solo on there for the interview for this week. I know we talk about it, but man, I'm just so excited to see this kid finally have the opportunity to hit the Coliseum and play middle linebacker. I think he has that actually he does have that Ray Lewis tenacity when you watch him play. If you look at his film from modern day, guy gets through the backfield, is great on contact, sheds blocks well, can get into coverage well. I'm just hoping that he's getting 100% recovered from his injury, and he has an opportunity to shine and show what he can do out there on the field.
Yeah, 100%. You could tell when he talks, he is fired up. He is amped. He it seems like him and Coach Orlando are gonna get along very well because they seem to act alike. Like, I just want to hit somebody. I think that's hilarious. I think it's awesome how much he loves the game of football and how much he loves you can tell he loves playing defense.
Which is kind of funny too, considering his dad didn't want him to play. I thought that was interesting too.
That's cool. Was it always? It's funny because most of the dads that don't want their kid to play football, they end up being really good at it. Because I think what was this? Adrian Peterson. I think his mom didn't let him play tackle football until he was like 11, 12. And what was the other one? I think he said he lied to his mom, and by the time she found out it was too late, she just let him keep playing football. I got that was on a Football Life. I gotta look that one up, but it was a pretty interesting story too. So while we're at it, at the linebacker position, things just got very interesting. Inside linebacker Elijah Winston, he just recently broke his ankle and he's got to get surgery. They project 6 to 8 weeks, but that's not counting rehab and getting back on the field. So yeah.
And a good thing though is even though we did lose Winston, who we're looking forward to this season, we did get back Taylor Katoa. He came back from his mission, so hopefully he'll be able to get back there, get in the weight room, get his size up. I'm not sure, if he's lost any or if he maintained while he was gone, but even though we lose Winston, we do gain Taylor Katoa, so that's a plus too.
Yeah, and then Raylan Goforth, who was, I think, didn't he win like Scout Team MVP for defense last year? So, and that's been SS said he was coming on really well, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna be ready for playing time as well.
You still have the elder statesman Io Cefa.
Jordan Iosefa coming back from injury, so we should be in good hands.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Elijah gets healthy fast. I think his best position, in my opinion, would be on the outside because the kid's a heck of a pass rusher. So I think we should just turn him loose on the outside and let the younger statesman Raylan get a good. He could probably be in the rotation. Definitely could be a second string for us this year.
I think it's pretty crazy. We talked about the wide receivers just a couple of weeks ago and how loaded that room is. That linebacker room is pretty loaded too. There's a lot of bodies in there. They're going to be fighting for playing time. It's going to be the whole iron sharpens iron thing in the linebacker room as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't even talk about Raymond Scott. Raymond Scott's another stellar linebacker that from what we've read, he's played a little bit of safety, moved him back down to linebacker. I mean, he's an excellent athlete and linebacker as well. So. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be interesting to see how that. Yep, it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds as the season progresses here this summer.
I think there's going to be some movement in terms of inside and outside before the summer's over. I think some of the guys are right now because we had a lot of inside guys, and I think they'll move guys around. I mean, we talked to Falanico last week. You know, he's going to be in the mix. Maaga's going to be in the mix. There's just going to be so many guys, and there's going to be a lot of I think there'll be a lot of interchangeable parts. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these guys play inside and outside just to get them experience in both locations.
Yeah, I agree. I can definitely see Falanico moving outside. I can definitely see potentially Winston moving outside. And those are guys that because of that rush linebacker or that jack is what Orlando calls it, they're going to be playing pretty much that's our base defense with that rush linebacker. I could see them being subbed in and subbed out pretty frequently. You want a high motor guy there. You want somebody that's always been able to go 100%. So I could see a lot of guys playing at that position.
Do you see someone like Raymond Scott maybe transitioning more to like a Sua Cravens type where he kind of played?
Yeah.
Or maybe like a Matt Grudigu when he was there. Not a huge linebacker, but kind of between safety and linebacker, hybrid guy.
He could potentially drop down into that nickel spot, depending on what team we play. If it's a team that's like a Washington, right? Washington runs a spread like everybody else does. However, they are not uber athletic, and they have a lot of tight ends. So instead of having your nickel be like a Max Williams, that's our typical type nickel, we get a bigger guy like a Raymond Scott that can be another force linebacker. That's kind of how he'll do things, and it'll change week to week.
So that would be like Washington, probably Stanford as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Maybe even Cal, I guess. So those are the teams that kind of stand out a little bit.
Yep.
So Renee has a question.
Who? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Terry. I'll read the question after you.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Read the question.
Renee said, "Hey, fellas, if I'm not mistaken, I thought the kid from Texas committed, posted on Twitter that there will be more commitments coming this past week. Did you guys see the same thing, or is there any word on who might be committing soon?"
I mean, I don't want to talk too much on who's going to commit, just because that's those websites that are putting out that information on Prime VIP content. But from what I understand is that, according to Campbell, is that we'll probably have a couple commitments coming down on Father's Day. Probably about 2, I think, is what I understand.
Yeah, 2 or 3. So, Renee, we're not going to mention any kids because we don't want to take away from their moment, but SC fans will be really happy on Father's Day. I'll just say that much.
Yeah.
I thought Campbell's tweet had to do with the tight end from Texas that committed last Friday. And
Lake McCree?
Yeah, I think wasn't it? I think his tweet was before that, so I think that might have been.
No, he made another one after that. This tweet, I think he sent that out Tuesday or Wednesday morning, saying the next coming weeks is going to be really good for Trojan fans and the Trojan family. And that could have been the Reggie Bush news as well. Welcome back, Reggie Bush. A big fight on from LOT. Hope we can have you on the show one day. So I'm pretty sure that was mixed in with it as well, because that sent shockwaves through pretty much the entire country.
Yeah, that was fun. It's always fun when watching other schools also. Oh shit, Reggie's back.
It's crazy.
So yeah, so let's transition into that Reggie Bush discussion. Mark, I'll let you lead on that one.
Yeah, so I don't want to go too far into the historic details of it. I will just make the blanket statement of I did not agree with the original punishment, right? I thought it was too stringent. I thought he took too much of the blame, and I don't think they should have took his Heisman in the first place. All that is water under the bridge now. We are all happy to have him back, and this is going to do tons for USC as far as the program and recruiting. I think it's underestimated for some of how much is going to be able to be. Obviously he can't overtly be out there recruiting, right? He can't go on house visits, things like that.
Yeah.
But just so happen if he happens to be at his alma mater, Helix in San Diego on the sideline, and there's some kids that USC is looking at on the sideline, or if he just so happens to be on campus walking past, things like that, that's going to be a big deal. And I've always been a Reggie Bush fan. I think he's a great guy, and I think he's a great ambassador for the university.
Yeah, 100%. And
he still does go to.
Go ahead, Terry. I'm sorry.
I know he still does go to Helix games every once in a while to watch.
He does.
And
yep.
He can go there and even on the road if they're playing against another team that it might be of interest. But yeah, obviously he can't recruit or anything, but just his presence, on campus, his presence, at events, it's huge. You can't underestimate how much a lot of these kids grew up, seeing highlight. I mean, look at Solo talking about it. His dad his uncle put in highlight. Hey, watch this guy. You want to be like him. So
yeah.
That plus obviously Chris Claiborne being the Butkus Award winner when he was here, number 55. Recruiting is just going to absolutely just take. It's going well now. I think over the next couple of years, the staff stays together. Having Reggie here, having Chris, and everything else, it's going to get even bigger.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Terry, 100%. I mean, the one thing that I'm happy about the most, not just that Reggie Bush is back, but you could see from last year when he was on the sideline. I think it was the Utah game with Matt and the rest of the cast on Fox. Is that he was still fired up for USC. He still had a lot of love for USC despite everything that went on. And obviously, I felt like you could see the remorse. He didn't want none of that to happen to the university, to the players, to the team. During the game, as he's talking about stuff at halftime, I mean, he was mad. He was upset. He wanted to see USC do better than what they were performing at that level. And you could see that the passion is still there. And with him coming back in the few interviews that I've watched, it seems like he's really, really looking forward to getting back on campus, mentoring some of the younger guys, not just on the football field, but obviously outside of the football field with the new process of the image and likeness, whatever it's called. It seems like he wants to be sort of that mentor to kind of make sure these guys understand that whole philosophy and the new process of what that means and how are you guys going to handle your own personal business venture as far as getting paid and getting your likes up and getting sponsors and stuff like that. So he's definitely going to be an asset again to the university, to the student athletes at USC. And obviously it's going to, what I feel is going to start is bringing back more alumni, to be on the sideline. I saw a video the other day where, KC was on there, Frosty Rucker was on there. I mean, Carson Palmer. I mean, there was a bunch of guys that played at USC that were there and are excited about the USC moving forward. And I think with Reggie being able to come back, all that's going to do is elevate the rest of the alumni that have played at that university to come back and do the same and elevate the program again.
Yeah, add that in with the new video directors that they hired. I mean, guys, when they hire on like that, oh my God, I can do Reggie videos now. I can,
yeah.
they're like this, like hell yes, this is, it's like a dream job. How many highlights videos can they put out? And to them, I mean, it's their job just got exponentially easier. Having to be able to throw in some Reggie highlights in there now, And I think those guys are going to be huge. I mean, hiring those two guys and bringing them in and doing, state-of-the-art videos and hype videos and stuff like that. That's what it's all about now with these kids. It's all about, videos and social media and how am I going to get my name and my image out there? And they're going to have a huge asset. I can't even underestimate how important those guys are going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys that live out west. How are things progressing with the COVID-19 and the coming back to normality and the potential for football practice? Because on my side of the United States, it's rolling. High schools are having workouts. Kids are on the field. Alabama is mass testing people and recovering and all type of stuff.
I would say for LA County, it's getting kind of back to normal slowly but surely. You see the traffic picking up. You see more people at the grocery store. You see certain restaurants opening up for dine-in. Of course, they're not taking parties bigger than 5 at the moment, but mostly everything is reservation. They done separated the show floors to make sure it's practicing social distancing. So I'll say probably by the end of this month, early July, that things will be back to normal, and hopefully our athletes to be back on campus working out with the coaches and getting ready for the season and training and doing that. But it's slowly but surely getting back to normal. Of course, it's going to take us a little bit longer because we're a more densely populated city, and everybody still got to factor in people are still traveling to California because we're a big tourist destination. But for the most part, you can see like it's not normal, but it's getting back to normal. Especially on the beach yesterday in San Diego, it was thousands of people out there. So it's getting back to normal.
Yeah, it's getting there. My understanding is SC already submitted a reopening plan that has to get approved. I don't know if it's a city or the county that has to approve it.
Yeah,
they got to get that. The only thing I can say is at least we're not Oregon and Washington because they're still way behind.
Way behind.
I talked to a couple of Oregon fans the other
Football
day.
Too.
Yeah, I mean, they're still on phase 1, so they're not sure they're going to have to, at least not in front of people, for sure, almost guaranteed in front of people.
So this is potentially scary because all of the major players in the Pac-12 start the season with big games. You got Oregon plays Ohio State, right?
Yep.
And Washington plays Michigan.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we play Alabama.
Yep.
Well, we're in Texas. We're in Texas. We're okay. That actual Ohio State game against Oregon is actually at Austin. It's at Austin in week 2.
Wow.
So I'm not sure about that.
And is Michigan on the road against Washington? I think Michigan is going to going to Seattle.
You know.
Seattle's crazy right now, not just because of COVID.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
the Chaz.
Yeah, I mean
the Chaz zone, right?
Out here in Arizona, we've been, it's been fine. I mean, we've had, they started to decrease, going to the restaurants and all that good stuff and being out in public and things like that. But it seemed like, I had to go to work every day, and it seemed like there wasn't that much of a drop off. And, as soon as they opened things back up, I think it was about a week or 2 ago, like I saw traffic just went crazy again. So there was a little bit of a decline, but now that we have more people going out and doing stuff, we also had an increase in testing and positive cases and stuff like that. But shout out to my buddies Mark and Marcus Carter over at Desert Edge High School out here, 2 head coaches out here. They have been posting on social media that they've been practicing. They've been going out there doing workouts, running the bleachers and stuff like that. So I think it is dependent on the city that you're in. The state probably did a broad umbrella of what you're allowed to do, and then left it up to the cities and the state and the smaller communities to decide what they want to do. But I know for sure Desert Edge is out there training right now, high school football.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's just something that worries me with the fair, I guess I could say fair competitiveness. If Alabama's able to get 3 weeks ahead of us when it comes to working out and practicing and things like that, it's just something that's just interesting. I'll say.
Yeah, not a good sign.
Your wife's gonna have that.
I agree. I agree
trash
100%.
The trash talking again going at you again this year, man. If we lose to Alabama again, Mark.
You know, I almost thought about asking her for us to go to the game, but I'm not over it yet. Nope. Mm-mm.
Well, I'll make you a deal. If you and your wife go to the game, I'll do my best to be at the game with you.
Dude, you don't understand what that would do to me emotionally if I was to spend thousands of dollars to go to that
Trust
game.
me.
It doesn't turn out right. You don't
Trust me,
understand.
Mark. You gotta understand. I was at that Arizona State game where what's his name, Berkovici, where that quarterback when they threw that last second Hail Mary to Jalen Strong tore me apart. I was like, I'm like, what is SC coming to? Like, we just gave up a Hail Mary to lose a game at home. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah,
So-
I was there too. I was there too.
I was like, what? We was winning the whole. Terry, what we up by like 14 or 17 in the fourth
14.
quarter?
Yep.
It was horrible.
And the thing is
Hey, so
when you know they're gonna do a Hail Mary, you got Hayes Pollard back there. Well, what the hell is Hayes Pollard doing back there, man? Get someone who can jump, man.
Hey, maybe we can get him on and ask him.
Oh, shout out to Hayes. Get him on. Like.
I'd have my
we
tight
have to do
ends.
that for sure.
I'd have my tight ends. I have my wide receivers out there. Not Hayes Pollard, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was funny.
So we got a question from one of our resident members, Mr. Michael Converse, who asks, "What is everyone's assessment of the new defensive staff and expectations for the season?"
Nice.
Well, the only thing we can judge them for, only thing we can judge them for now is the recruiting, and they're kicking ass. So from that standpoint, because we haven't really seen them on the field, there's no way to judge how well the guys are developed and how the plays are coming. But just the fact that they're recruiting, they're bringing guys in that last year we probably wouldn't have even gotten to sniff around SC. We've got guys competing on the defensive side, or going to come in and elevate the entire roster. So. That's the way I look at it. It's just like, bring the guys in and get them coached up, and we'll find out within a month or so once they hit the field, a lot more of, how well the staff can actually work together.
For me, I don't know how many people watched the gauntlet of media interviews they did with the 24/7 network or whatnot. The energy right away is noticeable. Todd Orlando, Craig Navarre, Coach Otto, obviously Dante. And one thing that was resounding and one thing that was constantly repeated was run and hit people. Be aggressive, be physical. That's a language that hasn't been so familiar on an SC defense in the last few years. And that is going to be very, very well excited and invited. One thing that I don't like seeing when I review games is linebackers reaching out to make tackles with their arms. Please put a pad on somebody and hit them.
Yeah.
Someone put a condensed version of 2005 Oregon versus USC, not on our side, but on a different side. And I was watching it. And the one thing you notice more than anything is the defense hits, the defense tackles, and they don't miss tackles. And, obviously that was the Pete Carroll years, when he was a, head coach and defensive coordinator. But, there's a noticeable difference between how the players played then and what we saw the last couple of years.
Yeah.
No missed tackles and a lot of hard hitting.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off Mark and Terry. I think the new defensive staff is a complete upgrade over the old one. Not saying the old staff was anywhere near bad coaches. As this staff is just more enthusiastic. They preach and they breed fast, hard-hitting, physical football. So, and that's the brand of football that we're used to being SC fans, especially growing up during the Pete Carroll era. So we kind of got away from that, but with this staff, this D coordinator, and all his assistants, we're going to get back to physical practices and being a physical football team. So it was music to my ears, and I can't wait to see it on the field.
Yeah, I would say that I'm excited about the defensive staff. Obviously, Coach Dante's recruiting. He's probably going to be recruiter of the year. guaranteed. Actually, like I think our whole defensive staff is top 10 in the entire Pac-12 for recruiters of the year so far. And when the season hasn't even started, so that tells you everything you need to know about, everything they've done since they've hit the ground. They've hit the ground running. They're out there trying to get the best players that are going to fit their scheme to make sure that USC is going to be successful. One of the big things that I personally noticed is their approach is very much like Pete Carroll's approach. And watching an interview not too long ago, Pete talked about his career in the NFL, and you're kind of hands off. It's more business like with the players. But as he got to the collegiate level, he realized, I gotta change this up. I got to be more hands on with these guys. I gotta express my expectations and let them know what I want from them, and be there for them and talk to them and tell them how they need to get better and stuff like that. So he was more hands on, and from everything I've seen and read, videos that have been promoted for USC defensive staff, Coach Orlando's in the weight room, like Solo said. I mean, those guys are there with them, trying to make sure that they're competing. Like Terry said, it is iron sharpens iron, and it's a breath of fresh air to see that compared to the staff last year, who I felt was, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but they definitely weren't hands-on as these coaches are so far. And I saw that at games. I went to the ASU game a couple years ago, and Clancy was in the corner by himself, and anytime the defense came to the sideline, it was somebody else that was talking to them. So for me, a little bit of my coaching background, I got to be there talking to my guys. I got to be hands-on involved, and we didn't see that before, and I see it now, and I think it's going to make a tremendous difference for our defense.
Yeah, that used to kill me with Sam Darnold too. Like even if he did a good play or a bad play, you never saw T. Martin talking to him. You never saw what was Clay Helton's brother name? I can't think of his name, but Tyson. You never saw him talking to him. Only person that be on the sideline talking to was a QB coach, and that wasn't a good sign to me at all.
Well, T and Tyson were both up in the booth. They weren't even on the field.
Oh yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah.
See,
I talked to a lot of coordinators, a lot of fellow coordinators and coaches. Some guys can't do both. Some guys had to be in the booth, away from the chaos, away from the. I'm gonna tell you what, it gets chaotic down there. I can only imagine on the Division I level football, trying to be on the sideline, because the high school, you got the band right behind you. You got the head coach talking all the time and giving suggestions all the time. You got kids that got to go see the trainer. They got hurt. There is a lot of stuff. Now, me personally, I have to be on the sideline. I just got to be there. I got to talk to my guys. Same thing as you, Ty. But I don't blame anybody if they want to just be in a booth away from it all.
One thing I will say, though, that we should mention is, for the fans that don't know or haven't been paying attention, is that we went from about a staff of like 15 to 18. We're up to 30 members of staff. We're programs that like Alabama and Clemson have, 32, 34 members of their staff. And, a lot of them are on the sideline corralling these kids up and talking to them and stuff like that. We haven't had that the last few years. And shout out to the AD, Bone and Sosna. Those guys are the ones that are making it happen and getting the support staff and the support that Clay Helton really needs so that he can focus on the game and be the CEO and allow his assistants to go out there and manage these kids so that, we could be successful. So that's also a huge difference that I think people will notice this upcoming season. Definitely,
because Taze and Chris Claiborne, that's two big-time hires right there to your sports staff. NFL backgrounds, SoCal legends, especially in the city section, and Chris Claiborne being from San Bernardino County, so that's immediate impact right there. That's the kind of faces we need to see around SC.
Listening to his interview that he recently had, it's really going to be interesting to see the role that he plays, because he's a lot of people don't, if they don't know this, he's going to be a offensive analyst. So he's going to break down opponents' defenses and explain them to offense coordinator Graham Harrell. So, a situation like, hey, this is what they are doing to stop your run. This is how they're adjusting to it, things like that. I'd like to get the backside of that and see maybe in the interview or something like that to see if Graham Harrell could speak on. It's like, yeah, man, he helped me. I wasn't seeing what that 3 technique was doing or linebacker was doing to stop my run or something like that. It'd be very interesting to see.
Yeah, it will be. Besides from the standpoint of he can see disguises. When a defense gets to disguise what this guy's going to do that until the very last second, he can spot that stuff because he's been there on that side.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Hayes Pilar, who's going to break down the offense for Todd Orlando and this defense staff, and he's the same thing. I mean, the guy was a middle linebacker, right? And
I'm hoping that the coaches help.
He's smart. He knows what he's doing. So I think those guys are going to be huge. And I think you actually overestimated. I remember seeing a picture back in December after the season. I think our support staff was like 8 or 9 people, and that was it. Versus 30 now, versus 32 at Alabama, 45 at
Georgia.
Yeah. So I'm glad we're making football a priority again. So that's music to my ears. I'm happy about this. Very excited for the season.
Yeah.
Hoping basketball, just kind of go on a sidebar, hoping basketball takes that step this year too.
Oh man, we got so much talent, man. It's crazy how.
Welcome back, OJ.
OJ Mayo.
Yeah, that kind of flew under the radar because he was only here a year. He wasn't quite the impact that. But his significance was he was our first one and done. So that was a big deal, for us at that point. But
then he was followed by DeMar DeRozan.
Yep. Also one and done, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do because they got a lot of talent on that squad. They got a lot of, players. They've been there, Enfield's been there, 6 years now or something like that?
Yeah, it's time for him to.
Been that long already?
Yeah, he got it. Yeah. I think he got hired in 2013, 2014?
Something like that. Yeah, right after his run at Florida Gulf, whatever the school was called.
Almost a Final Four run or Elite Eight, one of them.
So it's SC Athletics is going to take a steps, man. I mean, it's getting exciting again to be an SC fan, not just for football, but basketball, baseball is going to be
baseball. Yeah, baseball is looking good too. So got to give a shout out to Bone Thugs and Harmony. That's what Balatisi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. He gave him that great nickname, Bone Thugs and Harmony. So I'm very excited. Oh, and we didn't touch on this much, but we're going to shout out Kyle Ford. Very unfortunate news came down. I think that was Friday or Saturday. He injured his ACL. He's going to miss the season. It is the other knee, so good thing it's not the same one that he tore in high school. So we're going to wish him a speedy recovery and hopefully he can get back on the field and dominate in 2021, if not sooner. But prayers and speedy recovery out to Kyle Ford and his family.
Yeah, and all other USC athletes, when you're doing your at-home workouts, please take all precautions. We're dropping like flies, and we're not even allowed to come on campus yet.
Yes, take every precaution, please.
Hopefully they get back on campus pretty soon because we need them back on campus. We need them to have access to everything they need to perform at a high level, because we know Alabama's going to be there, when that game comes around.
Even though they had a couple of hits, they took a couple of hits at it in the transfer portal, but Alabama's Alabama, and you got to be ready for them. As long as Nick Saban is their coach, they're going to be a national contender.
Yes, indeed.
So, we're going to wrap it up?
Yep.
Let's wrap it up, fellas.
All right.
Okay. Fight on. See you guys next Sunday.
Fight on, guys.
Hey, brothers.
Fight on, LT.